homeowner association presidents, correct? Or federation members, or board members, and things of that sort. I too was on the Kettering Civic Federation board for many years. And I do realize that you all are more than just normal citizens. You all are citizens that care about your community, take leadership roles in your community, and that's why I wanted to come and meet you all this evening. What I did bring along is one of my staffers, Jimmy. He's working on the campaign full time. I brought something that's a little lengthy for you. I have campaign pieces, you know, the quick pieces with a face and vote for me. But I decided to bring you all, he's passing it out now, an article, a newspaper article. It was in the Washington Examiner. It talks about the race, and it mentions all of my opponents, so this is not a campaign piece. And it tells you essentially I'm running against 3 Jack Johnson people. Mark Spencer, Peggy McGee, Angela Oswald. I'm also running against Tom Dernova. He's on the county council. And then there's me. All the lawyers, they described me as the most qualified. This reporter, after knowing all, looked at everything, he also felt I was the most qualified, and he wrote the article. With my experience, I should be the one to lead the state attorney's office, because these are serious times. The Jack Johnson people are essentially term limited because Jack Johnson is term limited. They were all special assistants with him. Tom Dernova, he's also term limited because he's the county council. And as the article says, and as I say, you know, this is an important job, running the state attorney's office. And it's too important to leave to someone who really needs a job because of term limits. This is serious stuff that we do in the state attorney's office. From the police brutality cases, to the gang cases, to the sex offender cases. This is serious. And we must make sure that we elect the most experienced leaders for it. Hearing that, I am willing to take questions if you have any. Yes?
Said you've been there for 12 years. Other than the setting up a new elder abuse unit, what other changes and initiatives would you anticipate?
Good. I have been there 12 years, and I'll say this. Some people look at me, I look really young. And I know that. And I'm actually older than Jack Johnson and Glenn Ivey were when they started the state's attorney positions they had. I've learned quite a few things. One, I want to establish a narcotics unit, a unit that prosecutes drug dealers. We do not have that currently in the state attorney's office. I do think drug dealing alone has been the single largest factor in the violence associated with crime in Prince George's County. So we must establish a narcotics unit. Number 2, as I've stated, an elder abuse unit. Number 3, we need to expand our economic crime unit. Prince George's County is essentially the leader in terms of economic crimes, fraud, throughout the state of Maryland. We have an excellent unit and excellent people in it. However, we need a few more people in that unit. We need a few more people in that unit. It's just, if the number of economic crime filings are staggering, and domestic violence is one of my pet peeves. I would love to do anything I can to reduce it. Personally, I have been to the shelters to counsel women. I've raised money for our only shelter. We only have one shelter really in Prince George's County. When you are a victim of domestic violence, where do you go? That's generally the first question. We have one shelter, we need more. But we also need more people. We have volunteers just like you all coming in 2 days a week to the state attorney's office to help process the domestic violence paper alone. Because we have thousands of filings each year, so we need to increase domestic violence as well. Now, go ahead.
Domestic violence, I mean, it takes many forms.
True.
And I had a really bad situation, a bad experience several years ago, and it seemed, at least at that time, first of all, the police don't want to deal with it unless they physically see stuff. Who's doing what? So it seemed, the way the process worked is, whoever gets up to the commissioner's office first seems to be seen as the victim. And the other people who may have been the victims, you come later or the next day or whatever, and you're treated like you're the criminal. I was very, very, very unhappy with the way the case was handled, the lack of, it didn't seem like there was fair interviewing and stuff.
Yeah.
So, do you have any ideas about how to modify the system of handling domestic disputes?
Right.
But they're like in the family kind of stuff.
Understand. We have quite a few options available to domestic violence victims and the abusers: mediation, counseling, therapeutic offerings. We offer a lot of alternatives to prosecution. But what you described, we call it the race to the courthouse, the race to the commissioner. But we take a look at those cases. We now put them together. We look at both, and we have to make a hard determination as to who's the actual victim. Because in many cases, you will have the abuser who may receive information to go file papers. We put them together along with the protective order case and the criminal case, and we try to make the correct determination. But it is very difficult. In Prince George's County, we do need to do a few things, and that is become a little tougher on crime. People say that, but they don't know what that really means sometimes. I'm now in charge of district court in terms of the attorneys in my office. When I became in charge of when I became an assistant chief there, I went to the judges and I said, Judge, look, I have a new program I want to do, and I'm going to explain it to you essentially as this. I want to start sending people to jail. I don't know if you've ever been to court in Prince George's County and sat in for drunk driving or theft case and everything else, and you watch 40 cases come in, and how many people go right back out? 40. And we need to change that. In other counties, they actually try to stop the cycle of criminal actions the first time. We have to get there, and that's what we're trying to do. Domestic violence is also the same, though. The reason why we have to have counselors to come in, because many of our victims, our abusers, our abused, do not want to come forward. So we're trying to tell them, look, we're here to help you in the process. We're going to do everything we can to prosecute. We had a training with our prosecutors yesterday, teaching them how to go forth when the victim doesn't want to go forth. And it's a very serious issue, and we're trying to do everything we can.